check out these dogs. I just put all their toys up and they're taking them all back out again. They love their toys. It's like a doggy daycare here. But anyways, I wanted to talk about Texas Star amplifiers, the new ones. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm camera shy, so we'll focus on something else. Focus on the dogs, the amplifiers. So I've been reading online, for years now, that the new Texas Star amps with the DEI transistors are junk. Stay away from them. Don't buy them. You know, they're no good. Um, Only buy a new amplifier with the with the HG 2879s, and without actually seeing how these DEIs run. Come here, give me that toy. Jeez. Without actually seeing how these DEIs run, um, stop it. I kind of fell for it too. I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just telling you what I've seen. I don't feel there's anything wrong with the DEI transistors whatsoever. From watching BBI's videos, I definitely can understand where he's coming from. That if you have a 4 pill or an 8 pill or whatever it is with the DEIs, that there's been so many different lot numbers and revisions and everything else that oh geez, go get your toy, dog. Let's say you pop 2 pills in it in an 8 pill, that you're not going to this dog is driving me insane. Look at him. Anyways, that you're not going to be able to find 2 pills with that same lot number, and that might be a problem. I totally agree with what he's saying with that. But as far as the way they run and they operate, I've seen absolutely no problems with them whatsoever. Oh, jeez. Yeah, this video is going to be crazy. Okay, you've probably seen the videos with my buddy 191. I record him on the striker right there when he's talking. That guy is he's either in Dayton, Nevada or Carson City, Nevada when he's talking. And Dayton, Nevada is, depending where he is, actually I know where he's talking at. We're probably about 35 miles away from here to Dayton, and there's a huge mountain range, and it's called Iron Mountain for a reason. It's full of iron. It's hard to get over that mountain. When he's in Dayton, that guy's just blaring in here. Okay, he's talking on a Galaxy 959B, and my buddy in Carson City aligned and set everything up on that, tuned and aligned it. It's just a Galaxy 959B, blue face, no modifications, just tune and align on the spectrum analyzer, the scope, blah blah blah. So he has that, and he has a Texas Star DX500 with DEI transistors. I actually sold him the radio he's talking on, and I sold him the amplifier he's talking on, both. And honestly, that's the loudest mobile I've ever heard from that distance. Now, when he's out in Carson City, he's closer to 48, 50 miles away from me. And he's still blaring out there. It sounds great. And here's a story I want to get to. I'm not saying it's like this with all amplifiers or all Texas Stars or all DEI transistors. I'm not saying that. With this particular DX500, he had one of the monkey-made copy antennas you pick up from the truck stop, made by K40. They sell for $60. I forget the model number, but it's like a monkey-made copy. Flat SWR and all 40. We checked it with the antenna analyzer. It's just great. That's what he talks on. That thing just jams with his truck. Okay. So he ordered a new antenna. I want to say, I think he said, I mean, I know the base antenna I have is a penetrator. I want to say the mobile one he ordered might have been called a penetrator. I'm not sure. It's that same style of antenna. You know, it has a big coil in the middle. But this particular one, it's 7 foot long, and the coil's smaller and higher up on the antenna. I'm not sure. I know it costs well over $100 for this antenna. But anyways, so he doesn't run an external SWR meter, power meter, anything on his setup. He hasn't got there yet. He relies on the internal meter on that Galaxy. And there's a good reason not to do it. Because when he put the new antenna on, going off of the internal meter on the radio, he thought his SWRs were, you know, like 1-to-1. But he also noticed that the relative output power on that Texas Star amplifier used to go over to like 7 or 8, and now it's only going halfway. And he told me that, and I said, don't worry about it, you know, those Texas Star amps, sometimes that meter goes halfway, sometimes it goes all the way, sometimes it goes a quarter of the way. They're all different. That's just a relative meter, just letting you know it's working. But that's what he relies on, since he doesn't have a SWR power meter combo, and he's going to get one now, believe me. So anyways, he's talking on this new antenna from his usual spot that's 35 miles away. He wasn't coming in nearly as strong. I'm going to say he's coming in half as strong. So he's trying to figure out what's going on. And I figured, you know what, that Texas Star amp, it's got, you know, 2 amp sections in it. All those Texas Star amps, they have two transistor boards, and they just stack them up. You guys know that. So I'm thinking, it's got 2 fuses in it. Maybe one of the fuses popped. Maybe he's only running off 2 transistors. He checked it. He says, no, both my fuses are good. So kept thinking about it. So he tells me, hey, I'm up here right now, you know, at this place. He grabs a coffee and hangs out, talks to a couple other CVers. So I said, all right. Me and this other guy ran down there. I brought my, that's why that's out there. I brought my MFJ 870 meter, a piece of coax there. Ran up there earlier tonight. It's freezing, by the way. It was 35 degrees. Our hands are all freezing. And we take the amp out of line, and I just, you know, want to see the SWRs just with the radio and the antenna. I forgot to bring my antenna analyzer, so we'll use the MFJ. And he's got 3-to-1 on channel like 40, and like 2.5-to-1 on channel 1, and 3-to-1 on channel 20, something like that, 3.1. It was definitely up there. You see where I'm going with this. Then we put the amp back in line, we check everything, same SWR numbers. I mean, you know, when I say the amp in line, I mean the amp turned off, but in line. Same numbers. So he happens to have his other 2 antennas in his truck. So I tell him, pull that antenna off. He put his Wilson Trucker 5000 on there. You know, that's got like a 10-inch shaft on the bottom, you know, and then the coil and then the top. Everything looks great. Flat SWR. We took the amp outline, you know, took it out again. Just a coax from the back of the radio into the meter and then out to the antenna. Everything looks good. Put the amp back in, everything looks good. Okay. He puts his original K40 with that big coil back on there. We test it both ways again. Everything looks excellent on it. So you see what his problem was? His new antenna he bought, he wasn't able to tune it correctly because he didn't have a external SWR meter. He was trying to rely on the internal one in the radio. But in doing so, he was running an SWR of 3.1. And I would say if those DEIs or those Texas Star amps are junk, it probably would have popped those pills. He was running it for 2 days like that. So the amp's still fine. We put the K40 back on it, check the SWRs, get everything good. Everything's perfect. Test the radio power without the amp, see what it's doing. He runs at about a 2.5 watt dead key and swings 25 to 30 into that Texas Star. And with that, he's getting just shy of 500 watts out. Like 490 watts is what's showing on the meter. That meter's stingy as shit. Same one I run up there. I've got two of them. So could be a little bit over 500 watts. Who knows? 500, 525, whatever it is, right around 500 watts. Working flawlessly. He's loud again. Dude's blowing smoke. But those DEI transistors didn't pop. It had no problems in that Texas Star amplifier. I don't know if it's because the DX500 has a lot of input padding in it. I'm assuming they probably padded it pretty good so that someone doesn't hurt those DEI transistors. That's what we're kind of leaning to. But in my opinion, I was real skeptical. I wouldn't touch anything with DEI transistors. And now, to be honest with you, I would have no problem buying like a new Texas Star, Sweet 16 with DEIs in it. I would just run it respectful, not overdrive it, and I don't think I'd have any trouble at all. So that's my story. I'm not saying, it's right. It's our experience. And honestly, for 500 watts in his mobile, I've never heard a louder mobile in my life compared to him. He is running something called an EC1. I think they cost like $70 or $80. You can find them on eBay and Amazon. It's a little box, and it's like a microphone amplifier, and it has, I guess it has one dial to amplify, and it has another dial for your echo, something like that. It's got a built-in Roger beep. He put that in line, and that just made his audio just went up to from 10 to just off the scale. He actually didn't tell me he ordered it because he thought it was a gimmick. That thing's blowing smoke. I mean, yeah, it's a little overmodulated and it's loud as shit, but it is honestly the loudest 500 watt mobile I've ever heard in my life. I've got 1,000 watts PEP on my mobile, and from the same distance, I ain't as loud as he is. And I think it comes down to that antenna he's running. Those antennas with those coils in the middle, I think they just get out a lot better. I didn't want to put that on mine. That's why I put that. I originally put a Wilson 1000 on it, but now I've got that new Straker SRA 10, blah, 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 whatever it is. You ask me, all it is a repackaged Wilson 5000. Nothing special. But anyways, I would say don't let anyone scare you away from those DEIs. If you run those things at a respectable voltage and you don't overdrive them, I'd say they last you forever. It's my opinion. All right, you guys have a good one.